Hey, good morning. Dave here. Today we're going to continue talking about reading your English. I want to talk about an app called Blinkist that I discovered yesterday that looks interesting. Another fiction book I finished called The Naturalist, which I think I mentioned yesterday in the video, but I finished that, so I'll tell you a little bit more about that. And then I started reading another book called Disrupt You, which is about business. Well, it's for business, but it's specifically about resolving problems. And like the author says, that resolving problems is like the foundation of any good business, right? Helping people resolve their problems. So definitely looks interesting. I have a lot of problems to resolve. All right, so anyways, let me give a big shout out to my friend Patrick here, who left a comment yesterday. Hey Patrick, like Patrick said, let's read more, right Patrick? So Patrick is a longtime friend, known each other for probably about 10 years or so. Good guy, learned English really well, and now he's an English teacher down in southern Brazil. So all right, there's a big shout out for my friend Patrick. All right, Blinkist. What is Blinkist? I talked about MentorBox, which I signed up for to test out. You get book summaries with video lessons recorded by the authors themselves. Blinkist is a little bit different. It's the book summary. They give you like different sections of the book. They break it down with a summary of what each section is about. And at the bottom, there are audio files that you can listen to. So it's like another way to get a condensed summary of the book, but this isn't taught by the author themselves. Let me pull out here so we can get going and tell you a little bit more about that. They do have a free version. So in the free version, every day they give you one book for you to read about and study. So if you like reading, it's a great way to get a good quick book summary, a review, some interesting information that can help improve or even change your life. And I think we can go right after this car here. There's a lot of traffic today. Somebody opened the corral, right? So like I said, the free version, they give you one book for you each day. So we go ahead, follow along there. Talk about the books that are showing up. Something interesting pops up. They do have a paid version. Paid version I think is like $5 a month on the yearly thing. With the yearly version, with the paid version, you can read all the books in the library you want, whereas the free version, you can only read that book that's available that day. And with the paid version, you can download the audio to listen to offline. So, but if you just want to read at your computer or on your cell phone when you've got internet and you don't mind, you're not picky, then go ahead and sign up for the free version. I'll leave the link below for you to check that out. And let's start reading, right? Yesterday's book was about minimalism. Signed up late last night, or actually maybe it was early this morning, maybe it was after midnight, so maybe I'm already read today's book. But it was about minimalism. Wow, that's a complicated word. Those of you who are learning English, tongue twister of the day, minimalism. Yeah, even I gotta practice that one. All right, so minimalism is the idea of like minimizing the junk, the disorganization in your life, simplifying your life to enjoy the things you have more. Get rid of all the clutter and the mess around you. So it's a common concept. A lot of people talk about getting the most out of life by decluttering, minimalism. Yeah, it's gonna take some work to get that one. Maybe I just woke up on the wrong side of the bed today. So, then I also finished reading The Naturalist. Naturalist was a fun book to read, kind of a mystery, thriller, action thing. Had an abrupt ending. I thought it could have ended a little bit smoother. It was just like, bam! It had a conclusion, but it like immediately after it concluded, there was like no aftermath, no, finalizing the story, and you don't discover what happens to the characters right after they catch the bad guy. So anyways, that was the only sticking point that I had with the book, that I would have liked a little more, resolution at the end of what happened afterwards, because this guy's life gets pretty messed up. He's a scientist, he's in a small town doing some research, and like in the first chapter, the police arrest him. And they take him in for questioning. They think he's killed a woman because it's somebody that he used to know a long time ago, one of his students. They wanted to know why she was there, and he didn't even know that she was out there doing her own research. She had received a grant, some funding to do some research. And so anyways, they automatically suspected that he was the one who had killed her. Then they end up thinking it was a bear, and they write off her death, but because of things that he discovers, he realizes, and there's kind of like, it's really interesting the way that everything works out. Basically, he got some blood, somebody gave him some blood samples from the DNA, he had that tested with the hair follicle from the bear, and he discovered that the bear that the hair came from was already dead. So he knew it couldn't have been the bear that they thought it was that killed the girl. And so he starts doing some research, because he's a programmer and he's got some cool tools at his disposal, and he starts discovering other places where other girls have been killed. And so he starts going and finding them, and the police, first they think he's either the murderer, or they think, that he's just making this stuff up, and they think it's still just a bear attack, but he knows it's not. He knows it's the work of a serial killer. So he's got to get to the bottom of it, find out who the serial killer is, and prove it to the police before he and his friends end up dead. So it's definitely a tense, suspenseful read. Good thriller if you like that kind of stuff. It's free in your Kindle Unlimited, both the book and the audiobook. So if you like reading fiction, thrillers, take a look at that, especially if you're in Kindle Unlimited, and listen to the audio, because if you're learning English, if you're a student, then you'll be able to practice your pronunciation as well, learn how those words are pronounced. I also chose some words from the book that I'm going to be reviewing. I'll do that in my Instagram stories. So those will probably only be up for today, because Instagram stories disappear after a day, but I'll go ahead and put those up this morning. So if you're watching this today, as soon as I launch it, you'll get some extra phrases and vocabulary words and pronunciation practice with those. All right, so I think that pretty much wraps it up for today for what I've already read. I'll also mention briefly the book that I said that I'm taking a look at now. I haven't read it yet, but it's called Disrupt You by a guy named, I think it's Jay Samit, and he's talking about disrupting your business, market, your life, to find solutions that people want. And of course, if you're familiar with the disruptive technology, then you know about companies like Uber, right? Taxis dominate the market, and then Uber comes in with an app that totally disrupts that, kind of removes the gatekeepers of the industry, kind of like Amazon Kindle does with the book publishing company. So having something that totally changes the marketplace and how people operate. So I'm hoping that this is also going to have personal applications to to my life, you know, not just for business, but also, you know, find ways. I think a lot of times we get in a rut. We do things a certain way just because that's the way we've always done them. And, you know, finding solutions, good solutions for problems, I think is really important. So I'm excited to take a look at this book, read through it. It's also included in Mentor Box. So there's that. There's a workbook there. I'm going to go ahead and take a look at that this morning, read through that, work through it, and see what kind of good information I can get out of that. So I'll tell you a little bit about that next time I talk with y'all. Meantime, y'all have a good day. Go ahead and leave a comment. Let me know what you think. If you've read any of these books, if you're interested in reading them, go ahead and take a look. If you have questions about the vocabulary, words, about how something's being used there, let me know. Be happy to help you. And y'all have a good day. Talk later. Bye-bye.